What's going on?
We're back.
We are back.
Hello, hello. Oh, yeah.
14 hours later, and we're back.
Has it been 14?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah, dude.
14.
It doesn't even feel like it's been that long. Because I slept most of that time. Hey. What's up, everybody? It is our lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
Our lunch break version of Dillon and the Doc.
We're back.
Exactly. New and different. This is our second time with this time slot. Life happened. We had to change things up a little bit. That's just the way things go sometimes, guys.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah. Hey, drop some comments. We want to hear from you. We want to hear how you're doing. Want to know where you're at. Give us those likes. Show us a little bit of love, everybody.
And welcome to Dillon and the Doc.
Yeah. Welcome to Dillon and the Doc. My name is Dillon. I'm a professional sobriety coach, sobriety expert. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late to dinner because I love food. Founder of the Curse Breakers. It's because that's what we do. We just break generational curses because that's what drinking's about. It is a state, not a trait. And that state is learned through our environment, usually our parents. Sorry, mom and dad. Not your fault, but your fault, but not your fault. So here we are. I'm helping you break them.
I like it. And I am Dr. Ryan. I am a relationship expert with expertise in interpersonal communication and relationship development. And I give you the tools to stop living the life of quiet desperation. Rebuild your relationship, reignite that spark in your relationship, and really make it last a lifetime. So that's what we're here to do, is talk about sobriety and or relationships and where they intersect. So here from the UK. Hey, Julie.
Yeah, we've heard
Monica.
from Julie a couple times. She wants to get sober, but it's not sure that she wants to get sober, it seems like. And that's the life. That's the conundrum, right?
Yeah.
Been there, done that for too long.
We talked a little bit about that last night.
We did. We definitely did. I'm going to be dropping a free copy of the Sober Dad's Playbook at the end of the show. So stick around. I'll tell you how to get it. And it's super duper duper valuable. I can't explain to you how valuable it is. It's so valuable that I use it with every one of my one-on-one coaching clients. And you can use the same tools, apply it to your life without my help, of course, on your own. And I know it will make a difference. So that's what's up.
It will. It really will. He's helping a lot of people.
Hey.
He's got the goods you need.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about getting sober, you just need to get a hold of him and make it happen.
Yeah. Hello, Monica from Australia. It's early there. Very early there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Time traveling.
It is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow there. So, yeah, I know that because I've dealt with clients in Australia myself. Yeah, 3 a.m. That sounds about right. So, yeah, you're Eastern, maybe Melbourne area, somewhere around there, I think, maybe. Yeah, so we're here to talk relationships and recovery. Drop your questions related to either of those topics or both of those topics at once.
Yeah,
that happens frequently. I've yet to find a relationship yet that didn't have addiction. Mess with it. So
no,
that's a thing.
It is. I mean, just alcohol in general isn't good for relationships. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's not the alcohol, it's the idea behind it. And we've talked about that at great lengths. It's when you are going out and getting hammered with your friends instead of prioritizing your relationship. That's when shit starts to hit the fan.
Yeah, as soon as your alcohol becomes a mistress in your relationship, it's a problem, my friends.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is that.
Bottom
Sweet.
line is don't go out with your friends and drink. If you're in a relationship, either you're going out together or you're not going out at all. That's kind of the hard line you should take.
Yeah, if you can't include your partner in a night out, you
Yeah.
don't need to be going out.
No.
Like,
No,
that's it.
there's a million things you can do to hang out with your partner or hang out with your friends.
What about a bachelor party? What are your thoughts on that?
A bachelor party?
Yeah, like if your best friend's getting married,
I
there's
mean,
always a bachelor party.
that's
It's
a
their
different
game.
story.
Okay.
Like a
Cool.
bachelorette party. Like, man, the
Just
girls'
don't make it
trips.
every Friday.
Yeah, the girls' trips, the guys' trips. Once you get in a relationship, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
And the girls' trips, guys' trips, girls' night out, guys' night out, those things stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just period.
Yeah.
There's exceptions. Like if your friend's getting married, whatever, you're going to a bachelorette party or a bachelor party, fine. That's not every single weekend. That's once in a great while that's happening.
Totally. Yeah.
Aside from that, if you can't take them out with you, you shouldn't be going out.
Totally. I agree with you there. I completely agree with you there. I did not practice that so well. But in honesty, though, I didn't go out a whole lot once I met my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a drinking problem, not so much a relationship problem. My drinking problem became a relationship problem, but I wasn't one to like go out on the weekends. If I drank, I was drinking at home most of the time.
Gotcha.
That was my experience. But I will say, in many past relationships, I did my fair share of going out when I definitely should have been staying home or hanging out with my girlfriend, whatever. I didn't need to be going out.
Yeah.
It only caused problems in the relationship because you don't really need to be going to a mating ground when you have a mate. That's just the thing.
No. Bars, to put it in Julie's terms, pubs, man, they are spots. They're hookup spots.
Yeah.
Period. Everybody knows that.
Do they do? Everybody knows that?
Well, they should know. If they don't know that, they are lying to themselves and to others.
Yeah.
Like that's like if you want to hang out with your friends, go to brunch, go to lunch, go out to dinner, go play golf, go hunt, go shopping, go play putt-putt. I don't care. There's a million, like, name it. There's a million things you can do other than go to the bar at night, stay out, drink, shake your ass on different dudes, shake your ass on different girls, whatever the case may be.
There's just ass shaking. We know that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your relationship should be your investment. It should be your priority, period.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. We're talking relationships here. Relationships to your spouse and relationships to yourself. Those are the most valuable relationships that you have.
Yeah, they are.
Really, take care of them. I find for most of my clients, a large portion of the drinking issue stems from, I'm sorry, it's not past traumas, like everybody would like to say.
Yeah.
It's from just a piss poor relationship with ourselves.
Yeah.
We do not respect ourselves, and our behavior directly reflects that. It's not the answer you want to hear, but it's the answer you're going to get. And it's the answer from my own experience and from working with plenty of people that have either I only attract clients that have the exact same experience, or most of us seem to have the same experience. I don't know.
That's what so many people lack, is that relationship with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So like self-care, getting out, moving a little bit, eating better, all those good things.
Yeah, taking up a hobby, writing, drinking water, connecting with other people, all those awesome things we always talk about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the most important things you can talk about.
Yeah.
That's all there's to it. Julie, don't need hookups. Pub is afternoon lunch. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I used to think the UK was a different kind of animal, but it's the same way here.
Yeah.
Just depends on what industry you're in as to how what would it be? Like how many libations you can consume on your lunch break?
Oh yeah.
You know?
It's usually however many you can get away with.
Exactly.
Like, that's what people will tell you.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? And just saying, instead of saying, I'm not gonna do it, they say, "Well, they won't be able to tell if I only have 2."
Yeah.
Like, that's the mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange. Um, I don't know. I guess when I was younger, my younger self did not imagine the number of people that are actually drinking on their lunch breaks. Um, it's more significant than I would have ever imagined. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude. So what do you got? You got any burning topic you want to hit on?
No, I mean, this will lead right into yours talking about kinda drinking alone, going out, going to the bar, like you were saying, people working and drinking. Even in academia, it was so prevalent. There was this one guy, he was a grad
Really?
s there was this one guy, he was a grad student, and he was teaching and going to class.
Yeah.
He would leave at, like, 10 in the morning. Well, first he'd come in super stoned, but he would leave during at noon or whatever, walk down the street to this place, um, right down from campus that everybody went to, and he'd sit there and drink, and then he'd come back and he'd teach and do his things and go to class. He'd go back there, drink, whatever. It
Dude.
it was just, and students knew.
Yeah.
People knew, and they just don't do anything. They don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't say he was the best student or the best teacher, but
yeah.
it it it's kind of one of those things. You go to your job, do the bare minimum.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I took this honors course on cinema history. Yeah, it was an honors course. You just take something that seems cool. And
Mhm.
I was like, sure, I'd love to learn more about film. And our professor, like one of the first days, he was like, I know most of you here are of drinking age. Um, don't bring drinks to class. That's my only rule. And it was like
Yeah.
his way of saying, like, if you want to show up drunk and watch a movie, feel free. Just don't bring a freaking beer in your
Yeah.
backpack, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I just hadn't, I never considered that, like, I'm there paying for it.
Mhm.
I'm not breaking any rules if I
Mm-mm.
were to drink and go to class. Like,
No.
like it's just a weird thing. Like, I assume you don't want to show up to class drunk. Like in my
No.
head, I'm like, this is not something I want to do. But you're welcome to, I suppose, if you wanted to. Um, I think when you talk about that, I think about how throughout human history, there has been a pretty high level of drinking going on, even in
Yeah.
some of the greats, you know. And I
Yeah.
always just wonder, like, if prohibition would have continued, how would life look differently if we didn't have generations of people drinking at lunch and going to work? You know, all these things that we limit ourselves. Like, I'm not, even if your drinking is not problematic, we're lying to ourselves if we say that we're 100% capable of what we were before drinking alcohol. Is that fair? Is that
Yeah, I mean, it would be the same. I think it would be less safe because, again, it would be just like, um, heroin, marijuana,
Mhm.
cocaine, you're right? They're lacing it with different stuff now. It's obviously terrible for people, but that's because there's no regulation on it. At least there's
Well,
some regulation
I'm not
now,
saying
but
that.
I'm thinking you're talking about the social aspect.
Yeah, like where we could have gone as a species if we weren't hindering ourselves at large. You know, because there's still going to be people that are going to drink even if it's
Yeah.
illegal. Like, that's
Yeah.
where I get that, that's reality. But
Yeah.
like, less of a prevalence. Like, because that's why alcohol is such a problem in all societies, is
Do you
because
think
it
it
is
would be less
tolerated.
do you think it would be less prevalent?
I'd almost guarantee it, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe not for the first couple generations, because there's fiends. Like,
Mhm.
if they just did prohibition tomorrow, literally people will die. I want to make that very clear. If you don't understand the health impacts for some people when they quit drinking, if they just tomorrow ban it, nobody can get it again. It can be problematic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when you get away from the environmental impacts, as we've talked about many times, you get away from this concept of drinking being the thing, and it wasn't such a norm. I think it would be a lot less prevalent to be
Do you,
completely
do you
honest
think
with
it ever will be? Because I mean, look at smoking.
you.
Smoking cigarettes, it has declined significantly in younger generations than before. Like, it's not seen as a cool thing. It's not something that they just want to go out and do. They don't see it the same way kind of we saw it growing up, and our parents and our
Oh, I thought it
grandparents.
was cool as hell when I smoked, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in my teens, man, I thought I was such a badass. Like, I smoked here and there in my early teens. Once I turned 16, like my parents couldn't regulate that shit anymore. Because it
Mhm.
was like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna take my car away? No, you're not, because you can't take me to school. Like, you need me to drive to school. You need me to take my brother to school.
Mhm.
I'm gonna smoke in my car. You can't, you know. And I thought it was cool as hell, dude. But yeah, as far as to answer your question, yeah, there's I can't speak to the validity of some of the claims in the studies that have come out, but supposedly through some polling, it's way less cool in the younger generation to drink at this point.
Uh-huh.
Um, from my observation, it's like the same basically right now because I have tons of young people, and the problem is on the online, you get some of the worst of the worst. So you never know if someone's trolling you or not. You don't know if
Mhm.
they're speaking genuinely. Like, you just don't know those things. But I just have to assume everyone's being honest because I have to. So it's like, based on the comments I get, it seems like half of the younger generation's cool with it, half of them don't like it, which I feel like is about the same for
Yeah.
before.
I feel like there is a slight shift towards it not being as cool. I mean, you see these things like there's a meme, a video going around, and it's this girl saying, "Hey, we're gonna run a 5K for my 21st birthday," and her and her friends are super excited. Like, that's what she's doing for her 21st. Then this guy gets on, right? He stitched the video. He says, "I couldn't even crawl 15 steps on my 21st birthday," and he goes into like, right, kind of making fun of her for not drinking, but
Rude.
yeah, he's of course he's much older. He's probably close to 40, and
Yeah.
she's 21, like
Yeah.
double her age. So I do see, I mean, if you kind of follow it, there's a huge kick towards fitness and health
Yep.
in the younger generation, which I think is kind of helping them steer away from drinking because, like you and I's program, that's one of the first things we
Yep.
tell people to start doing is exercise,
Yep.
eat a little bit better, stay hydrated, work on yourself. And I think there is a bigger push to be healthier in the younger generation.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess I want to hit that real quick, and then I do want to. I think we should hit Monica's.
Yeah, yeah, we'll grab it
Um,
here in a second.
but my concern is that we don't know what segment of the population we're getting when
Mhm.
we're observing social media.
No.
My thoughts are often that the people that are fit, are taking care of themselves, are those things, are much more likely to be pushed in algorithms to,
Oh, yeah,
not just because of what they're doing, but because people
how they
like that.
look. Yeah.
Yeah, people like that. So then I guess my question is just like, that appears to be the narrative, but is it really the
But also
narrative of the
also
younger
on the other
generation?
side, that narrative is healthy for these kids to see.
Hell yeah.
So
I'm
that
for it.
that algorithm is actually doing a really good job at pushing a healthy, awesome lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do think I do believe that people are waking up. Um I mean, I've got people ages ranging from 20 to 60 plus
Yeah.
that are like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know? And
Yeah.
in the 20s, it's really interesting because I, to go back to the video you were talking about, um, yeah, I mean, it was like you were intentionally trying to make yourself sick on your
Mhm.
21st birthday.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a rite of passage to get like the three wise men and a bunch of just disgusting shots to show that you were a man or something,
Yeah.
like I helped my brother end up, vomiting on himself and sleeping in a car on his 21st birthday while everyone else continued to party. And it was normal. Like looking
Yeah.
back, I'm like disgusted. But at the time, I was like, this is what you do. This is what
Mhm.
everybody does, you know?
Yeah.
So to have a younger generation that's like not trying to live that life, I don't think is a bad deal.
No. I think it's good, and I think it's one of those things that people don't see the positive side of social media and what it can do for
Yeah.
these kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
who cares if they're watching or following these people that are doing awesome stuff with their lives?
Yeah.
Like, hopefully that rubs off on them.
Totally. Yeah. It's not all just Tide Pods. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, guys. Yeah. Do you want to hit Monica's?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
I think one of us has to.
I'm gonna let you run it so we don't run into another problem.
So when your partner knows you have a problem, you're working on drinking, and then your husband sets up a bar in our shed, buys monthly boxes of red wine, which he doesn't drink, my go-to alcoholic drink, and he gets mad when you drink. I often wake up on the lounge around 3, hence wake for this call. Love my husband, but how do you get around this? Feels like a true insult. There's some unpacking to do here. What do you think?
I want to hear what you have to think first before I jump into this one, because I'm not going to have a filter on it.
Hey, I'll do my best to be filtered, I guess.
Okay.
I first of all, I don't know what's going on in your husband's head. So like I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that he's like trying to insult you or trying to get you to drink or doing. I can't make those assumptions.
Yeah.
I won't make those assumptions. What I will do is that even if he was, your sobriety is your responsibility. I know that's like probably not the answer you want, but it's the answer you're going to get because it's the truth. My wife drinks around me. I even get drinks for my wife. People will drink around you for the rest of your life until they ban it or something, which I don't see that happening because there's too much money involved.
Mhm.
So that being said, maybe he has a right to be mad when you drink. I don't know. I don't know about those things. But what I'm saying, what I'm picking up mostly from this comment is that you need to take accountability, responsibility for your sobriety, regardless of what your husband is doing.
Yeah.
That's mine.
That's where I was going to go with it. Like, it is your responsibility. It's not his responsibility. However, on the other side, on the relational side, some serious conversations need to be had.
Yep.
As far as support, here's the thing: if you don't tell him that you need the support, he doesn't know how to support you. And this is done through things like active listening, which I've covered in this podcast multiple times. Communication is a huge one. One of those is like, you have to come at it from a place of understanding. Okay, I'm talking to you, Monica, because he's not here, but it's easier to understand other people than it is to make people understand you.
Mm-hmm.
Is where the active listening comes in. So it's having that conversation. Hey, I'm feeling a little, I don't know, disheartened because I'm trying to make an attempt to quit drinking, but we keep bringing alcohol in.
Exactly.
Could we please maybe put a hold on this for a month while I get this under control and you support me in that way? Right? You're trying to understand where he's coming from, like understanding why he has that out there, why he's buying the alcohol and not drinking it. And then it's his job to understand you from your vantage point. But bottom line, like Dillon was saying, it is all your responsibility, the sobriety part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's if
All
your
you can,
husband is doing that, that's shitty.
yeah,
That's a reality.
yeah,
But even if he was, I mean, I don't know this for fact, but I do know my wife pretty well. And when we first moved back in together after I'd gotten sober, there was more booze around than has been since. I'll put it that way. Consistent wine in the fridge. I could drink at any point if I wanted to. And now that doesn't ever happen. So it's like
Yeah.
I am making an assumption here, but I feel like it's a safe assumption that she was doing a little bit of testing, seeing if I was capable of being the person that I had become and said I was.
Yeah.
Shitty. This is not me condoning that behavior, but I'm just saying that you can make it. You have a choice. You don't have to. You don't have to drink. You just don't.
Yeah.
That's it. So good.
Yeah. Like you're in between two places. The only place to get any resolution is to have an honest conversation with your husband about what's going on, understand where he's coming from, and ask for support in what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. You want to hit any of the other things that have come in?
Yeah, we can hit. And I think it goes, what we said goes hand in hand with what Julie's saying. Like, it is still your responsibility. It is hard to come home, pour a glass of wine, and before you know it, easy said, not to drink, hard to do. 100% never said it was easy.
Yeah.
But you have to take ownership for some of your own actions, just like you do in a relationship.
Yeah. The reality is that, and this isn't just me, this is documented through rigorous study. The number one predictor of our success in getting sober, maintaining sobriety, and this is on multiple different metrics, is our belief in our ability to, and our ownership of our experience, right? So if we can't take radical accountability, extreme accountability for where we're at and the choices that we're making, we will never get better. It just won't happen. That's like the brass tacks hard part of the reality is like, yeah, it is a reality. And until we come to grips with it, we can't do anything to change it. Like, that's just it.
Yeah, it's that hard look in the mirror, that honest look in the mirror.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Real quick. This, I think is essentially shoe other foot kind of deal.
Yeah.
In the same way with Monica. I know that it's testing on your willpower, but you need to have a conversation with him about the drinking around you. The other thing is, does he have a drinking problem if he can't stop drinking around you? It's a conversation worth having. Yeah.
You're very welcome, Monica. And then, Julie, if you're really struggling, the best thing I can tell you is to join Dillon's program immediately to start that accountability. He is very good at what he does. Obviously, he's stayed sober, helped a ton of people stay sober. It is your best chance at success right now if you are struggling.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, thanks for that. He's not wrong.
Like I hear his success stories. I see them online.
Yep.
I know Dillon very well. It's just at some point you've got to invest in yourself.
Yeah. That's honestly exactly it. If you can afford to drink, you can afford to get sober. Said it once, say it again. I'll say it a million times before the show's done. So what do you think? Should I do a little?
You want to hit on Jen?
Yeah.
Jenny's like so first she says she's turned the page on health, eating better, off meds, still working on cigarettes and alcohol. And she's feeling kind of like a failure, even though she's made great strides in her health. What would you say is the next step? Like, she's got her health in order, all that stuff.
Let the cigarettes ride for right now.
Okay, yeah.
Your doctor might not appreciate that comment, but probably will, to be honest with you. The foundation for all these things, we often work at them backwards. Don't take this to be mean or anything, but in many ways you have. I understand wanting to get your health in order. You cannot get your health in order if you don't get sober. That's just it's a biological fact. That's what it comes down to. Our body doesn't absorb nutrients the way that it needs to when we're drinking. The way that it processes fats, burns fats, utilizes resources within your body
Mhm.
It's not efficient and effective while we are drinking. Um, no amount of exercise will your body, it was atrophying muscle
Mhm.
while you're drinking. Period. Even if you're going to the gym, you cannot gain the muscle growth that you would if you were sober. And when I say muscle, it's just cellular growth in general, all
Yeah.
cells. So I want to make it clear. I applaud your efforts. They're just slightly misguided and misplaced. So I would work more towards getting sober. I'm not saying throw the health stuff, the changes you've made out the window, but the next step would be 100% to tackle the alcohol. Cigarettes can be handled later, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I think that's a good way to put it, reframing your mindset to think stopping the alcohol is also a health thing.
100%.
So you've got part of the puzzle piece there.
Mhm.
You're missing kind of the last piece, which is the alcohol to your health. And once you have that, your health, yes, then you're on the right track.
That's exactly it. I agree. Great strides. I wouldn't say you're a failure because I work with people that haven't even made any of the steps that you have in any direction.
Yeah.
So you're doing something right. Um, now just keep making the next right choice and the next right choice and the next right choice.
Mhm.
That's it. Um, so yeah, can I do the thing?
Yeah,
We're
let's
about
hear what you
halfway
got.
through.
Let's hear what you got about isolation.
Yeah. And it's I guess pre 2020 I wouldn't really probably need to do this, but it's not so much like lockdown isolation. It's like when we remove ourselves from relationships with other people or
Mhm.
other people remove us from the relationships with them. That's a pretty common thing in drinking. If you did not know that. Um, the most dangerous thing that we can do in our drinking is to isolate ourselves from other
Mm.
people. And I don't want anyone to take this as permissive for people's shitty behavior because it is not. But it's equally dangerous for us to isolate our loved ones who are drinking from us. I understand sometimes it has to be taken as a protective measure. I just want to be abundantly clear when I say it. That should be a very last resort because sometimes not sometimes, all times, the relationship is the lifeline to someone's eventual sobriety or recovery.
Yeah.
We think like, oh, tough love, it'll fix them, and it's medically proven quite the opposite. That's just a reality. Like it does not help someone get sober when you kick them out of your house. It's just not a thing. Because that's not a rock bottom necessarily. Like the rock bottom's not doesn't mean you're penniless and homeless and friendless and all that stuff. That does not mean that. Rock bottoms are referring to a specific emotional event triggered within the brain that helps to resynchronize your brain. And kicking someone out of the house doesn't guarantee that. So it can be dangerous. That being said, okay, I do understand and empathize for people that have had to remove people with addictions from their lives. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying make it a last resort.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, as addiction develops, we begin to have a one-track mind. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to get slightly nerdy in the beginning, then we can get into a little bit of the fun towards the end. Fun, I suppose. But as we develop in childhood, we develop towards relationships from the very beginning. Like we see in our parents' faces, we learn what emotions are from the facial expressions that they make, the way that they communicate with us. And we start to learn different attachment styles. And we want to be secure in our relationships with other people. That's the goal. And without security in our relationships, we have troubles being secure in our environment around us, extending beyond relationships. That right there is a key component in almost all cases of addiction, is that we do not feel secure in our environment. We are feeling insecurity, not necessarily just in relationships, but in general. We have our brain basically constantly setting off red flags like you're not safe, you should be afraid, everyone's going to abandon you, it's going to get bad. Like that's just where you live. And we drink to cope with those signals because we can shut them off.
Mhm.
Because unfortunately, drinking, drugs, events, experiences, people, um, they give us that same feeling as if we're in a healthy relationship. That's why it's so perfect that we talk about drinking, our relationship with alcohol, like it's having an affair with somebody,
Yeah.
because they fill that void almost exactly in brain scans, right? So now that we understand the importance of relationships in our mental development, that's why isolation becomes so dangerous, because you're on this one track mind. The only thing filling the void of real, actual human relationship is whatever our addiction is. It doesn't have to just be alcohol, it could be any substances. Like I said, it's behaviors, events, experiences, people, and substances. So you're filling this void. And the issue with addiction is that it's like a snake eating its tail, and it just gets worse. That's that whole downward spiral that everyone talks about that people experience in addiction. It's that life is getting worse because of our addiction. We're becoming more and more disconnected from our environment and the people around us. So then we drink, which then leads to more and more disconnection, and it's just gets worse, right? And the way to resync your brain, and this is kind of one of the coolest things. I talked about it a little bit last night. The biochemically, this area of your brain does not change in later development in life. So, barring a traumatic brain injury of some sort, it should not be a problem for you to form healthy attachments and have healthy relationships later in life, which then can help you to escape from the cycle of addiction, right? So, I just need to make it abundantly clear that we can recover from addiction when we replace that relationship. I'm not saying replace an addiction with addiction, right? I'm saying replace the relationship that we have with whatever behavior, event, experience, person, or substance with a real relationship, like with a real healthy relationship with people. That's where, you fixing yourself, improving yourself, and improving your relationship with your spouse comes in. That's why I work specifically with dads, often with dads that are like, usually in some sort of distress with their relationship. They get sober, they start to improve themselves, they start to improve the relationship with their wife, and being sober becomes a whole lot easier at that point, because we're getting our fix, for lack of a better word, we're getting our fix from that relationship, the way we were naturally hardwired to get our fix from in the first place. Yeah. So, like I was talking, the problem is that isolation makes all of these things worse. And I'll share like a story, my story with you to illustrate how this can play out. It's like my wife and I's relationship was okay. My drinking gets worse. The worse my drinking gets, the more I'm pushing her away, both not even like willfully, but in pursuit of this relationship with alcohol, I'm pushing her away because there's not room for both. And then on her side, she's pushing me away. She doesn't want anything to do with me. I don't blame her, right? I don't blame with her. Don't blame her one bit. And at some point, and this is before her and I's relationship is like on its way to the end, she moves away and takes a job. I don't have that relationship anymore. That the little bit of security I did have, it's gone. I have a relationship at work. That's about it. That's like not enough, So now I am isolating. And the friends that I have, they've got families. Like they don't want to hang out with the dude that's like now a bachelor, kind of a bachelor, but not a bachelor, who's just lonely, bored, and wants to drink. And their wives don't want him to either. Also, don't blame those people at all. So I isolate further and further. The drinking gets worse and worse. When I get sober, in my mind, am like, my wife and I are done, right? I had come to grips with that before I even got sober. I am like, we're done. I'm not like, hey, I'm going to go pursue romantic relationships, but I'm like, I'm going to pursue relationships with people. I have got to rebuild a life. I cannot continue living the way that I am. As I develop these relationships, sobriety starts just coming naturally. It is not I don't have to think through the process of, do I want to stay sober? Because there's a thing in my mind that goes, you really want to light these relationships up too? Like you have these now, and that the fast track to just destroying everything that you've worked on and worked on. I mean, I'm investing in these people. These people are investing in me. And when you have a relationship with somebody, they're investing their time and energy in me. Do I really want to piss that away for myself and for them. Like, that's kind of rude, right?
Yeah.
And I also have, because I'm making the decisions, I read on a regular basis. That helps for your brain to heal. I'm exercising on a regular basis. That helps your brain to heal. Forming these relationships with people. All of those things help to speed up the process of recovery. And it just makes staying sober easier and easier and easier and easier. It was only through ending the isolation in my life that I've been able to maintain long-lasting sobriety. Yeah, I reconciled with my wife eventually. It was never part of the plan. Like, it was not part of the plan. My plan was just to foster relationships again, you know? So that being said, like, you can do the same thing, the exact same thing. And we can kind of learn to be a little bit more empathetic, if possible, and supportive of loved ones going through a similar process. Don't let them walk all over you. Don't let them rob and steal and, you know, really muck up your life. But do what you can to be there and support them along the way. Yeah, there you go. That is isolation and addiction, and hopefully sobriety without isolation. Anybody has any questions, drop them in the comments. Like I said, I will give anybody that would like the Sober Dad's Playbook a free copy of it. I will drop a link real quick. You can grab it right there. This contains some of the things that would be useful in improving yourself and improving your relationship so that you can make getting sober easier on yourself and all of the people around you. And we have Ryan on the call now, so it's just me and you guys. Jenny, I hear you. I did not have one for 50 years. I could imagine it would be significantly more difficult to depart from a relationship like that, but it's not impossible, truly. If you can start to frame your relationship with alcohol truly as a relationship and start to recognize how abusive that relationship is in both directions, it becomes a lot easier to get away from that. We can't escape the reality that there were times that alcohol was largely helpful in our lives, but as our drinking progresses, I know, get to a point where the costs outweigh the benefits significantly. So start to frame that and start to value the other relationships you have in your life, the real relationships with real people, more, and, you know, do some pros and cons work so that you can help to shift your mindset, because a great deal of getting sober is in your head, truly. Yeah, there you go. Julie, you're welcome. That is what Ryan and I are here for. Just trying to drop some gold nuggets around to help all the people. I would say that drinking was one of the nastiest times in my life. And if I can help anybody get out of it, that's what this is all about. So, yeah. That being said, I am so glad Ryan just got off the phone.
I'm sorry. That
Hey.
local government's calling me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's almost like
no.
you're helping somebody with a political campaign right now. Well, you missed my whole entire thing.
I did not. I was still listening. I really appreciate that you put how much of an impact isolating yourself or isolating others has on your ability to get sober.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something, it seems like people kind of flip that. They don't see that it's harming, they see that it's helping.
Yep.
Like, I just need to stay away. I need to do my own thing. I need to not be around people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really not the case. It seems like you should be forcing yourself into other situations, right? Like we've talked about,
Yep.
seek discomfort type of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the best days, I like in my darkest days, the brightest of those dark days, really, really good friend of mine, Kevin, would force himself into my life on occasion. Um,
Mhm.
Borderline kidnap me in a way. Um, but those were good moments. I mean, those were good moments. He wasn't judgmental about my drinking. He knew he knew what was going on. He knew the score. Not an idiot. Um, Dealt with his own relationship with it along the way. But having someone include me in their life like that
Mhm.
to feel loved would give me a moderate amount of motivation to want to get better at that
Yeah.
point. Um, I still lacked the discipline at that point. So the motivation would only go so far. And unfortunately, um, we covered we covered dopamine at length in a previous episode, but alcohol just robs you of natural motivation, except for itself. It's self
Y
perpetuating.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just kind of nasty. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough because I can think about a bunch of friends that I turned my back on throughout the years while they were
Yeah.
drinking, and it was the worst thing I could do for them at the time. I had no clue. I did not know that. But yeah, you know, if I had a time machine and $1 billion or something, I might do things differently. But I don't. So all I can do is pass it forward. The
Yeah.
knowledge. Don't give
What do
up
you
on your loved ones.
How do you suggest people go about finding relationships? Because a lot of people, maybe they need to find new ones,
Mm-hmm.
and not romantic, but just platonic,
Yeah.
any kind of relationship. How would you go about finding those?
So, um, any community groups you can be a part of, because those people are immediately in the networking group. Like you
Yeah.
need to recognize that anybody involved in like Kiwanis or Elks clubs or anything like that, you need to be careful with some of them because some of them are like glorified drinking teams.
Yeah.
But like all of those people are in it for people, so that's a really easy place to go find a relationship of some sort, friendship,
Yeah.
whatever, right? Um, the other thing too would be like recovery communities can be very, very powerful.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, like that's a place you could go if that's the kind of Kool-Aid you're looking for. Though I want to make that clear because you're going to find the conversations that you're going to have with people in those communities are going to be about the community. So
Yeah.
if you want to get sober, diving headfirst into sobriety and make sobriety your thing, that's a damn good place to do it. But if you're like, hey, I want to get sober, but I want to like have a normal life, whatever the hell that
Yeah.
means,
Yeah.
that might not be the most ideal route. But I guarantee you, tons of community organizations that you can become a part of. In fact, they're begging for you to volunteer your time. So
Yeah.
if you do that, that's how you can form relationships. And it also has an added bonus of soaking up some of your time, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
you have a hole in your schedule when you get sober. No longer procuring alcohol, drinking alcohol, and recovering from alcohol. Pour it into your community, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I I like that. I mean, it's things you wouldn't think to do, because I think a lot of times people are like, "Well, where do I meet new people?" And everybody's go-to is you go to the bar to meet new
Dude,
people.
yeah, I get that all the time. Well, I can't go to the bar to meet people now. For the record, you shouldn't be going to the bar to meet people in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, what else besides AA? Um,
Dillon. That's what else besides AA.
me, yeah. I have well, Jenny, you've already got you're in the Discord, to the best of my knowledge. Start becoming a little more active in there, communicating with some of those people. I know it's not in real life, but there are people that there's a lot of research on that digital communication and real communication are almost neck and neck in the value they provide to our lives. So that online communities, um, I don't know what your religious standing is. There's a group called Celebrate Recovery. It is generally more uh, secular, but that would be one. Smart Recovery. I don't know if they have a Smart Recovery group in your area. They have lots of different 12-step ish flavors. You got like what I believe it's Red Road, which is a more spiritual one. Um, yeah, they're out there. It just depends on what you're looking for. Feel free to send me a message too if you want. There you go.
There it is. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I think that's wrapped up. Has a bow on it, pretty good at
Yeah,
this point.
I like it. I mean, isolation just isn't good for anything. Obviously, I didn't think of it in terms of sobriety, but even if you're going through a breakup, one of the worst things you can do is isolate.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not good for you to sit there because you're going to sit there and reminisce
hmm
and think about all the things you shouldn't be thinking about instead of doing something active, making new memories, going and doing new things,
yep,
getting a massage, um, meeting new people,
yeah,
like
yeah,
like surrounding yourself with people who care about you,
yeah,
the
yeah.
things you should be doing during the breakup.
Yeah, I also want to point out this very interesting experience. So many people are like, it's so hard to meet new people. Where do I find new people? Like literally everywhere then. Because those same people are out there looking for you at the same time. Like
Yeah.
anywhere. Um, it may be strange to strike up a conversation at the supermarket, but if you strike up a conversation with the right person at the supermarket, you become best friends. You
Mhm.
strike it up with the wrong person, they just think you're a weirdo, and you never see them again. So who cares?
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it, if it, Ryan alluded to it earlier. All of the things you want in life are on the other side of your comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
that's really it. Um, you aren't happy where you are. You are comfortable where you are.
Yeah.
Therefore, comfortable does not mean happiness.
Yes.
So maybe try it the hard way for a little while, and you'll get the things you actually want.
Mhm.
Yeah, or it doesn't, and you're still in the exact same boat, and nothing changed, and oh well. But I doubt that will happen because I don't know anybody that has happened to. Um, so don't bang your head against the wall. Go try something different.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's that whole definition of insanity thing, right?
100%.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, make sure everybody go ahead and get a hold of us for whatever you're going through. Let us know what's going on in your life. Email us, ask questions, whatever. We will bring it up in a future episode.
yep,
And if you want it to stay anonymous, that's how you keep it anonymous.
yep, yep. Yeah, yeah, because I respect everybody's
Yeah.
privacy, as they say across the pond, um, and the desire to not want people because it's crazy to me that it is so taboo to have a drinking problem. It makes no sense because everyone knows what it does.
Yeah.
Like it's not a secret that consuming alcohol can lead to this problem, but then all of a sudden there's something wrong with you or inherently broken when
Uh-huh.
biology takes its course. Because that's the thing. It wasn't you. It's not you as a human. Like
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out a way to like tell that story in a way that's like fair to it. Because it's
Hmm.
like no, I've never met anybody that intended to become an addict. It's
No.
just not a thing. It is not a thing, So then, how do you explain that like it's like you did something that you never had the instructions to in the first place, and then you're in
Hmm.
trouble because it broke, but you didn't know how to use it anyways? Like
Yeah.
that's what it's like for
Yeah.
anybody. Um, but I also, how do you tell that story while keeping some responsibility squarely on the reader's shoulders? Because that's not what I'm trying to do. Is to give you permission to become an addict, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll figure out wordsmith it at some point how to do it. But yeah, it's just weird that we have to be anonymous. Um, yeah. So, anyways, man, what do you think? You got anything? What are your
We're
thoughts?
there. I don't have any
You don't
burning
have
thoughts or
none. Cool.
thanks, Julie, Monica. Who else
Jenny,
was in here?
Jenny,
Jenny.
Alexis.
Thanks everybody for being here. Alexis,
Yeah.
appreciate you all. And we will see you next Tuesday night.
Yeah. Next Tuesday night, 9 Central, 8 Mountain,
Yep.
7 Pacific.
We
10
will
Eastern.
be we will be we will be there.
Be available in all time zones, depending on which time zone you're in.
Yes.
So, yeah, well, everybody have yourself a good rest of the week. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Later.